Spontaneous speaking video 100. Alright, what's up, y'all? If you are new to this channel, then pretty much you must be wondering what spontaneous speaking video is. A spontaneous speaking video, in short, when I started this YouTube channel, I literally would just put up my iPad exactly like how it is right now, wherever I might be. Well, obviously I'd prefer a quieter spot. And then I would just extemporaneously speak about whatever topic that I have been reflecting on, digesting, just, from the mouth. And I pretty much don't edit the video at all. No graphics to assist in whatever I'm saying. And a lot of the videos you actually have to sit down and I'm sure most of you put this on 2x speed or something, but a lot of the videos you actually have to witness me thinking through what I'm saying, and it's unrehearsed, all of that. So there's a whole playlist of my spontaneous speaking videos, and it's just my random thoughts on many different things, and just to upload at will without having to, again, edit as much. And so this is my 100th spontaneous speaking video. I'm glad that you guys have been keeping up, and today we are talking about how to handle small talk. So I hear a lot of people complain about small talk all the time. Whether it be on my channel, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be in real life, it seems like everybody claims that they hate small talk. They don't do small talk. They don't have the energy for small talk, stuff like that. And I'm going to be upfront and I'm going to say, honestly, I don't really like small talk either. That's just without question. But here's how I handle small talk, and maybe that'll be able to help some of you guys. Let's say somebody brings up the most common small talk topic ever, the weather. Well, if somebody brings up the topic like the weather to me, immediately I try to find a way to bring substance to that conversation. And the reason why I do this is because for me, I personally do not like talking for talking's sake. I feel like every time that I'm speaking, substance has to be, coming from it. So we either have to be connecting on a deep level, or I have to be teaching, or you're teaching me, or we're laughing about certain things. But if we're just talking to kind of fill space, and whatever is being shared is not really that substantial to me, then that's why I guess I consider that small talk, and I don't really have the energy for that. I'd rather be silent during that time. But what I do with that instead is I try to alchemize it. So from one of my previous videos, I talk about how to be an everyday alchemist. And an alchemist, for those of you who don't know, is somebody who uses the everyday metals that we have, so lead and whatever else common metals that we see, and then they are able to liquefy it and make it into pure gold. And so that's obviously fictional, but in essence it's the practice of turning something that's very mundane and ordinary and something that you see every day into something very extraordinary and valuable. And if you consider yourself to be an alchemist, if you consider yourself to be somebody who is very good with conversation, having good conversational skills, good people skills, stuff like that, you can alchemize almost any small talk situation. And the reason why I say situation is because one of two things might happen. So if somebody brings up small talk to me, then I will immediately try to shift the conversation into something deeper. And these one of two things might happen. One, they might roll with it, and then now the conversation starts to actually become deeper. Or two, they might be like, oh shoot, I didn't actually feel like thinking. So now they might not want to continue the conversation with me. Therefore, they might go their own way, or they might allow the both of us to remain silent. Either way, I win, because I do not mind expending energy to have conversation. if it's substantial. And so I will immediately try to deepen the small talk conversation. But if they try to, I don't know, make something of it, like if they are like, oh man, I'm tired of this, and then they just like kind of like leave or whatever, I also win because now I get to like reserve my energy, and hopefully they can go find somebody else to go talk to about whatever it might be. So one example that I like to use is like the weather. Everybody usually complains like, oh, I don't have time to talk about the weather or whatever. If somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, I am like, oh, nice weather we're having today, right? Now, what I would probably do is I'd probably look outside and be like, oh yeah, like, wait, so do you actually prefer the heat? Or do you, oh yeah, I kind of like the heat because blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So then what's your favorite season? Oh, I kind of like the winter. I'm like, okay, why do you think that is? And I start like inquiring more about it, like, oh, because Christmas, and therefore like small talk, which is another thing that I have to mention. Sometimes small talk is just a way to also expand conversation. I saw a meme one time where it was like it was a picture of a text message, and the question was like the person sending the text to someone. It was like the caption was me when I like someone, and then the text that the person sent was, so ... do you like bread? And obviously, like, like it's small talk or whatever, but this is a clear attempt that the person is trying to create like a substantial conversation. Like they just want to stay in contact. They just want to stay in connection and rapport with that person. And sometimes we have to be able to see through that, and we have to be able to be like, oh, this person just wants to be in rapport with me, but they might not really have the skills or the tools to be able to hold a conversation that actually has, again, I know it's all subjective, but I call it value, or substance to it. So, yeah, going just back to the weather thing, like, oh, I like fall because to me it represents boom, 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 boom. From that, so much can be earthed from that conversation. But if you don't allow yourself to actually explore what somebody's if you don't allow yourself to actually explore like what this is what I mean, spontaneous speaking video stuff, you gotta think. If you don't allow yourself to explore what the other person's intentions are, to see the potential in that conversation, to check in with their energy to see like if you even have the energy for a conversation to begin with. Like, okay, do I really not have energy for a conversation, or just a conversation that has to do with nothing? If you don't have the energy for a conversation that has to do with nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you do have energy for a conversation, you just want it to be substantial, then why not try to find a way to shift it into that direction? And it shouldn't be too hard to alchemize shallow conversation, because if anything, to me, it's very hard, in my opinion, to stay in the shallow realm of things. And for somebody who finds it very hard to not stay in the shallow realm for things, that person's going to end up walking away before I do. Because I'm going to constantly, they will not win. I'm going to constantly bring the conversation to a deeper level. And if they start to feel uncomfortable about it, or if they don't really want to give that type of energy to think, then they will leave. But I will always give that opportunity for them to be able to connect with me. So yeah, that is just how I personally deal with small talk, and just some tips and some hints. So this just once again goes back to the whole idea of like not victimizing ourselves, like let's continue to work on not being victims to certain situations. People keep on imposing small talk on me all the time and stuff like that. Like, you can do something about this. Let's put ourselves in a position where we are able to take control and we are able to maneuver things into the direction that we'd like. And therefore, we won't have as many things to complain about. So, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'm very interested. And also, if you don't know, I have a group chat on Telegram called Ponder Palace. I have a video that I made on that too as well. If any of you guys are interested in joining this group chat, it's a pretty great group chat with about 20 something people in there. Just download the app Telegram and comment your email below so that I can send you the invitation link. I'll send it to you privately. We don't want just anybody in there kind of thing. And it's a really great, group chat where we literally talk about any topic that comes to mind. The people are very kind in there. And yeah, small talk is not really a thing there. So just also be ready for that. Like even when we're trying to have small talk sometimes, it plunges deep. But yeah, that's just an invitation for if you're new to the channel, once again, you want to check it out. And leave any questions, comments, or concerns, whatever that you might have. How do you handle small talk? What do you consider to be small talk? Let me know in the comments below. And I think that is everything. Done.